Look at this.
All right, let's do a, we'll call it an EP update. Not really much to update, but we're still drowning in chemicals here. Just like that opening, Can you smell that smell? I can smell that smell. All right. To start, I get videos sent to me every once in a while of people make of East Palestine, and they are really good. They're designed to make you think. You don't have to agree with everything that's in them. But they do make a lot of valid points. So I'm going to start as they get sent to me, and I watch them. This one is part 3. David's made 2 other parts, obviously. If we're to 3, we must have 1 and 2 somewhere. This one's 2 hours long. Give it a watch. I mean, it's very well put together. He did a good job. So I'm gonna start showcasing these as I watch these, or these are sent to me, just to get other people's stuff out there, because they deserve as much recognition as anybody else. So I'll hit this link in the pinned comments, and also got Rick's YouTube. He is a big proponent of East Palestine, one of the many we have out here. He does a lot of great interviews too. I like, because he speaks his mind. He's kind of like me. He's not afraid to ask the hard questions. I'll play this clip real quick because I just find this funny. This was the day, well, it would be a week. Yeah, last Monday. They opened up the site, the East Palestine clinic. Let me pull it up real quick. The new permanent East Palestine Health Clinic. East Liverpool Hospital is manning it, or see here, open. We realize that the people of East Palestine need long-term support, and they deserve another primary care option close to home. The clinic will provide that. That's from Governor DeWine. Let's see here. Provide traditional comprehensive primary care, treatment, prescriptions, lab testing, consultations with specialists where appropriate. Physicians, registered nurses, and mental health specialists will be on hand to provide services. 9 to 5, weekdays, appointment needed. So I don't know how they're, I haven't talked to anybody yet that has went there, how they're treating railroad symptoms. We've seen them kind of throw it off of, labs refusing to test for certain things, or we'll get into that in a little bit. Some new stuff that came out, which doesn't surprise me. The federal EPA is kind of changing its tone too. We have a EPA thing. I have it pulled up somewhere. Coming up. So Mark must be back from Indiana. I'm sure he was out in Indiana in that big old plastics fire, telling them everything was okay, even though they got asbestos flying all over the place, and in people's yards. I'm sure he was out there saying there ain't nothing wrong either. Anyways, I'm gonna play this real quick because I just love the question, and as always they refuse to answer. His lovely assistant comes in as a basically to say, let's get the mainstream media questions, if they have any. Yeah, because they won't ask the hard questions. We know how they ask.
Hi, a question. So, as somebody who grew up really close to here, and I've lived here 30 years now, and who voted for you twice, this is a very positive direction to go. but it's also unfortunately very frightening that we even need this. So what are we still doing about the main cause of people getting sick, which is our creeks? As of Good Friday and Easter, heavily contaminated. And anybody that wants to see that, I can show them. I think the EPA says now that the water is clean or safe and they've taken the aerators away. Any comments on that?
While the cleanup continues, I'm going to ask Director Ann Vogel to come up
Ann. Where you at, Ann? Ann Vogel?
here.
Oh, she's not here.
Where she went.
Typical EPA.
That's not fair.
Well-
That's not fair at all. The Ohio EPA was here within 2 or 3 hours after this.
Governor, respectfully, why
I'm not
why didn't they stop them from putting the tracks down over contaminated soil if they were here 2 hours after?
Are you going to let me answer?
Yes.
I'll take the first question. Look, the removal of the soil is continuing. There's been a tremendous amount of soil that's already been taken out. That certainly will continue. We continue to put out through our department. We continue to put out a news release at least twice a week concerning that work that is continuing. So that work will continue. The testing will continue. The testing of the water will continue. The testing of the air will continue.
And I'm not against you. I voted for you.
Members of the media have questions, please.
These creek videos were filmed all over the Easter weekend. This last one was filmed 12 hours before the ribbon cutting ceremony. If I sound passionate, it's because the press and the governor can leave. We are stuck here. We have had no federal financial help. We are being poisoned. If you like.
So, thank God for the assistant to come flying in there. You notice he didn't answer the second question. They just refused to answer. His assistant came flying in there and asked questions from the mainstream media because they won't ask such hard questions. Questions that he might have to face. Remember, he wouldn't answer the question either if this was in a major metropolitan area. Would he have allowed the it's called what they call it, controlled release, freaking explosion? Would he have authorized that in a bigger town setting? He refused to answer that question either, even though it's a simple yes or no. You've seen the end of that video, what the creek looks like. I mean, this is when the creek is supposedly clear. We have kind of looks like gel stuff floating down it. The creeks are still heavily contaminated. The thing that I find interesting is, this has been February 21st, and it's still the reason why I bring this up, because let me pull this up. This is an email from the Welcome Center. Now, see, I like this because the reason I'm still bringing this up because I'm so interested in it. It says, besides the stuff on top about their soil sampling, blah, blah, blah. You've also asked about the controlled burn. EPA. No, EPA didn't order the controlled burn, okay? The local fire chief was the incident commander who made the decision in consultation with Norfolk Southern, local law enforcement, and response officials from Ohio. Now, I don't know what local law enforcement knows about hazmat burning. But I guess we consult them too. EPA staff was present during some discussions leading up to the decision, but was not singled out for consultation on the decision. That's when you open your damn mouth and say, whoa, wait. EPA staff were not present within an evacuation area during the burn. EPA did coordinate and conduct air monitoring from the controlled burn from outside the evacuation area. I hope this helps. Feel free to visit the Welcome Center, blah, blah. So they still continue to throw the chief basically under the bus, just like Alan Shaw did. As many times he was asked in his many committee hearings who, was an incident command, he still refused to answer that. Which, I don't see what the big deal is. But as many times as I'm gonna make the chief happy again. He's just gonna love me even more now. As many times as he's been called out for, it's right here. The EPA claims he ordered a controlled burn. This was back in February 21st. We still have yet. The only interview I've seen him do was with the Fox and Friends. This was posted February 27th. So that's the interview, basically, where he talked about, this whole, what basically was going on. As many times as he's been thrown out there, there still isn't a statement or something released from him, which, I still find kind of odd because, if I'm the one getting blamed for, nuking 5 tanks, I'd be out there straightening up real quick, what really happened. But I was talking with somebody when I was at that we were there presentation that I live streamed. He brought up a good point. What happened if NDA was, signed, a non-disclosure agreement or some kind of agreement saying that you cannot talk about anything that was discussed in this incident command with, pertaining to these tankers and why our decision was to burn these tankers. And, I wonder if one of them was signed or, agreed to or something. That's why nobody has really come out and said anything yet. That was a great point he brought up, because even the firefighters are pretty quiet on this too, which I just find odd. But I don't know. This was what, February 21st. Spokesperson with the EPA, Region 5, so this is federal. The fire chief of the East Palestine Fire Department was the individual who ordered the controlled burn following the catastrophic train derailment. EPA did not order controlled burn. The local fire chief was incident commander, who made the decision in consultation with Norfolk Southern, local law enforcement, and response officials from Ohio, the EPA said. So that's basically, they copy and pasted in the email what was wrote here. According to FEMA, incident commander is responsible for the overall management of the incident and determines which command or general staff positions to staff in order to maintain a manageable span of control and ensure proper attention to the necessary incident management functions. Wow. East Palestine Fire Chief did not comment Monday evening on if he was the incident commander, if he recommended the controlled burn, or if he had legal authority to order the controlled burn. Any details of the analysis that led to that decision or any other options that other options than waiting for the carriages to explode were considered. We're still, April 17th. We still don't have nothing. 5 train carriages were at the risk of exploding due to unstable vinyl chloride. Could have sent fatal shards in the air around 3:30. No, it was more around 4:30. They're about an hour late. Anyway, they exploded the dang things. They call it a controlled discharge. They freaking blew the things up. DeWine also noted that Ohio National Guard did a modeling exercise of how the release would work in conjunction with the U.S. Department of Defense. See, that's kind of funny. Why are, as many train derailments as, I could look into, why is the Department of Defense being, told about this if, they really had nothing to do with it? Did they own something on this train? It was kind of interesting. And we know the modeling exercise they did was for one tanker, because Sunday night it was one. And then they come in Monday, and then we're doing 5. And you would think somebody would be like, whoa, put the brakes on. We don't have, modeling for 5. Or, why are we doing 5 now when only 1's overheating? You think somebody with common sense would kick in and say something, but obviously it didn't. So, interview last Friday, DeWine's spokesperson said he was unaware that legal authority was required to execute February 6th controlled burn, and that DeWine agreed with the decision to execute a controlled burn. But was not the person who gave the order to execute the controlled burn. So he agreed with it, but he didn't give the order to do it. So there is thing was they legally able to give this order, I guess. But the Department of Defense is really kind of interesting. This is February 14th. So Shapiro says Norfolk Southern's response to East Palestine derailment and fire put first responders and residents at significant risk. I like this because the toxic chemicals, including vinyl chloride, were released and burned, including, which I agree with that. There was at least 1 tanker of vinyl chloride that they breached, but there wasn't 5. The other ones were already breached that night and the days that it burned after. I finally got my modeling done of every tanker car that I could find and have them labeled, and their breach and their position of their tanker cars does not line up. So I'll get into that video. You guys, I know you guys have been waiting for it. I've had people ask me about it, but I finally got it done. I think I found just about every drone footage, photo, everything I could possibly find to label every car. At least that I was able to read numbers on. The burnt ones were just kind of a guess on how they would pile up if they derailed, so they might be a little off. But most of them you could get numbers off of. Let's see here. Norfolk Southern failed to work with the government officials and Incident Command post, instead separating themselves from the Incident Command structure to conduct independent operational and tactical planning. This forced state and local agencies to react to tactics that were developed unilaterally, Shapiro said. The railroad also provided inaccurate information about the impact of the controlled release of chemicals that made protecting the public more difficult in the aftermath of the derailment. It failed to update state and local officials on the changing plans to release vinyl chloride from all 5 cars carrying the chemical rather than a single car, Norfolk Southern personnel identified initially. Railroad officials were unwilling to discuss alternatives to burning off vinyl chloride that limited the officials' ability to respond effectively. Norfolk Southern failed to explore all potential courses of action, including some that may have kept the rail line closed longer, but it could have resulted in a safer overall approach of first responders, residents, and environment, the letter said, which I agree. I agree this was all to open the railroad up as fast as possible. Alan Shaw, man, you look at his LinkedIn, man, he got a Bachelor of Science in Aerospace, Vice President of Chemicals for 18 years. Don't tell me this dude didn't know what he was doing. So he likes throwing how much money he's thrown in the community, everything that he's done. Every committee, he's $29 million, okay? Well, they had to put out a thing here on their page that, gives down everything they donated as of, I don't think this has a date on it. I know. No, it don't. All right. Let's see here. $300 in donation to the East Palestine Community Foundation. $250,000 to the way station. delivering aid to the East Palestine community. Let's see here, $7.5 million to Pennsylvania Community Support to cover costs incurred by state agencies and local fire departments. Includes a $1 million community relief fund established for businesses and residents in Pennsylvania who's lost revenue. This is their training center. Total freaking waste of money. $445,000 to a scholarship fund for the school. East Palestine Fire Department's got $3 million. We know it's over that now. Let's see here, $300,000 to the district's academics, extracurricular activities, long-term planning regarding the impacts of derailment for the East Palestine School District. This kind of tells you, look into the future. Let's see, you funded an administrative supporter service for the fire department, purchased 100 flowers from a local florist and sent it to a nursing home. Landscaper replaced the mulch and they put new grass in the pool area, which they took and dumped. The old grass, they just dumped it in a dump, the city dump where they dumped their dirt. That grass was removed for a reason, and don't tell me you don't know if it was, it's not contaminated. There was no test ever done on that. If you look at EPA's testing maps, so you don't know what's in it. Anyways, they made the buses when no schools would come to East Palestine. They bused the high school basketball team there. 21 pallets of water. They created a community license position and they oversee the distribution of $1 million, which we still don't know who that is. Established a $1 million community fund to support immediate community needs. Let's see here. Coordinated fund cleaning and air monitoring services for the high school and elementary school. Provided more than 100 air purifiers for residents to use. $220,000 to the fire department for their SCBAs. They purchased cases of water from a local vendor for the community. Donated $25,000 to the American Red Cross Disaster Relief Fund. So, they lay out their dollar contributions, but it really didn't help the residents any. Residents are still in, having the same problems they had. This is I should have threw status quo in there in the beginning because they've been good too since mainstream media's left. They've been doing good on reporting too. I said this from the get-go that you're going to be taxed on that money you're getting. The railroad was giving out, and nobody's no. Well, official from Norfolk Southern confirmed to status quo that the company had residents fill out W-9 forms in order for them to pay taxes on the reimbursement money. So all that money they gave you, you're paying taxes on next year. Well, this year, for next year. So you're paying taxes on being poisoned. Something ain't right with that. But I called it from the get-go. I said that you're going to be taxed on it, and everybody said no. And when I finally got all the papers they made you fill out, I was right. So they finally came out and admitted. Before they said it was for, let's see here. It was for their own. It was for their insurance company. Is why you had filed W-9. Now, anything over $600, you're going to pay taxes on. So you're paying taxes to be poisoned. Why not? EPA. I like this. Wow. I can't say I really like it. I'm not surprised by it, let's say. They're kind of changing their tune now of them, basically allowing to put tracks over the contaminated soil instead of digging it all up first. They're kind of backpedaling on that now, which I find
Deborah
interesting.
Shore is the administrator of the U.S. EPA's Region 5. She's one of the people most responsible for the cleanup and monitoring of East Palestine.
Today, Shore was back in the village checking on the situation. I interviewed her. My questions centering around the cleanup, monitoring, and Norfolk Southern. Shore on East Palestine. It's our top story tonight at 10. I sat this afternoon with Deborah Shore on a picnic table outside an EPA mobile unit, while over our shoulders and down the hill at the East Palestine derailment site, loads of soil were being removed.
If you look at the daily numbers, we've been exceeding shipments of solid waste in over 1,000 tons a day. I think yesterday it may have been 1,400 tons. So they're really moving the solids off-site and the liquids off-site too.
Shore says they still need to remove the contamination from the streams, and then
there's restoration of the stream bed and stream banks.
I asked if the streams would need dredging, which he thought was going too far.
Well, it may be a matter of degree, where they're not removing the entire stream bed.
At another location near the derailment site, gravel was spewing from a machine, perhaps in preparation of Norfolk Southern possibly reopening the South Tracks tomorrow. The EPA has said it will hold Norfolk Southern accountable. That tough talk came after the train started running, moments after the evacuation order was lifted.
On tracks that had contaminated soil under them, and through areas where there was contaminated water, which was a second assault on the people of East Palestine.
Shore also says Norfolk Southern, after the tracks were dug up, wanted to fill the trenches before the soil was tested.
And that's where EPA said, no, we have to wait and see that all the contaminated chemicals and all are out of the soil, that we've dug deep enough so that it's clean.
Shore also says the Columbiana County Health District is working on a plan to monitor private water wells for 10 years.
That makes sense. At the end of that 10 years, then they'll decide.
Shore says this was her 6th trip to East Palestine, and over the past 6 weeks, she's been there 20 days. And again, she reiterated the EPA's commitment to monitor the situation for the long haul.
So she's kind of, EPA is kind of changing her tune now. We really didn't hear much about the stream beds, that the aeration was going to take care of that. Now the railroad wanted to fill it in, and EPA stepped in and said, no, we need to test it for. So where the hell were you at when they freaking burned 5 cars of this? Did you forget to step in then? So, they're changing their tone. I find, interesting. She did tell me that, that one day I was out there, protesting Norfolk Southern. She did tell me she did agree that Norfolk Southern had to pay. So, and she didn't even give me her business card with her cell phone number on it, I do believe. That was a while ago, but so, she thinks they should pay. If it'll go anywhere, I don't know. All right, let's get into actually, maybe we will. Yeah, okay. I'm going to end this video. I don't want to make it too long. 30 minutes is good enough. Then I will start a new video on their water, whatever the hell. They're kind of like channeling water away from the contaminated zone. It's a bunch of crap, but it's just to make it look good. Is what it is. So, all right, guys. I'll put this in the second video.